Hey everyone, this is Tell the Truth Sports Radio. I'm your host, Ron Fitch, and I'm going to tell you the truth about the World Series, uh, the Georgia-Florida matchup, the NFL game that took place between the Cardinals and Packers, and a little NBA talk. First, I want to talk about the game that took place just a little while ago, the Braves beating the Astros 2-0 in a pitcher's duel. I mean, a pitcher's duel too. When you take out a pitcher that threw a no-hitter to replace it with a reliever, you know it was a pitcher's duel, which I didn't like at the time, but the Braves got away with it and they ended up winning. They did what they had to do. They got the run they needed early when Austin Riley doubled and Rosario scored to take a 1-0 lead, and they held that lead all the way to the ninth until Darno got that insurance homer to give you kind of a relaxed feeling once that happened. But what surprised me is the Astros didn't hit. I mean, this is one of the best hitting teams in the American League, and they got 2 hits. That's it. I mean, Correa comes up constantly with traffic. Mr. What time is it? You know what time it is? It's time for him to start hitting. He's batting 100. Alvarez, the star of the playoffs with Boston, batting 125. This is first taste of the big stage, the World Series. Bregman, who's really good under pressure, batting 111. Altuve, just not doing anything, batting 154. Kyle Tucker got the last out of the game. Gurriel, the RBI leader, yes, he's only batting 273. Houston's built off bashing the ball and getting the big hits, but I'm going to tell you something. The Atlanta Brave relievers were fantastic. Mentor, Jackson, Matex, let me pronounce this right. Matzek, Tyler Matzek, who is really good because there was a one time it was drama in the game and he got the big outs that needed to be gotten. He got Brantley to pop up with a runner on, and it was 1-0, and he took care of business, and Will Smith's been money as a closer. And you look at him. I mean, 7 strikeouts. So they did their job. But the the Houston relievers were good too. After Garcia gave him 3 2/3, Taylor, Garcia, Raleigh, Stanek, who throws almost 100 miles an hour, but Graveman gave up the big home run. The only problem I got with the modern baseball is the fact that you're going when you have a pitcher like Ian Anderson that's throwing a no-hitter. Why don't you just let him pitch the next inning to see if he gives up a hit, replace him. All this, I'm worried about him going through the lineup a third time. Guy's pitched a no-hitter. Obviously, he's having a pretty good day. And let him go through the lineup again. You never know how important that is. And this is the problem that could hurt Atlanta. Charlie Morton's out of the rest of the series. You're shorthanded pitching-wise. You have 2 bullpen games coming up. That's what you're hoping for. This is a big win because if you could get another game, you got Fried and Ian Anderson coming back in Houston. But you got to get a game out of these relievers. And this is the problem. You don't want to tax your bullpen. I would have tried to see if Ian Anderson could go as far as he possibly could. Save your bullpen for the next game. So if you want to have a bullpen day where everybody's got pitched, because what's going to happen is the Altuves and Bregman and Brantleys and Correas are going to see your relievers more. They might not bat 100 the whole series. Now they get a second because in the World Series with the American League and the National League, if they don't play each other during the season, when you're going to your bullpen, these are flame-throwing, slider-throwing pitchers who come in and you don't see them, so you don't know, have the book on them. So a lot of times you're going to have these lower-scoring games, and once it goes to the bullpen, it's lights out. So you want to get an early lead. But now there's a bullpen game with the Braves. They pitch more pitches being thrown. Now there's more of a scattering report on what they do. Now Will Smith has to come back. Now Mentor's coming back. Now we saw Mentor. Maybe Ian Anderson could have went longer. You might not have had to see them again until this next game. Maybe it's moot point because the Braves are undefeated at home right now. So I'm talking about game 6 and 7. Astros better wake up. And the crowd was really good. It was damp, but they have a good crowd. I enjoyed that atmosphere that the Braves had, but they're getting the hits. This is what's making Atlanta. This is why Atlanta is so good against Milwaukee. They do just enough between Austin Riley and Rosario and Freeman, Albies, and Travis d'Arnaud, a former Met, and he's batting .417. He just gets hit after hit after hit. And it's always somebody, whether Soler set the whole tone of this World Series by mashing that home run in the first inning of game 1. And then it just came snowball from there. And then Houston was able to beat Atlanta in game 2 as error filled by the Braves. But the Braves got this game that they had to get this after getting a lead. They're probably, you're going to run to a game where you're going to get mashed a little bit by the hitters from the Astros. Like I said, you want to split these next 2 games and hope that Max Fried can get his act together because he's your ace and he hasn't pitched good against the Dodgers. He didn't pitch good again game 2. You got to hope he can figure that out if it goes that far. But we'll see because Houston's missing one of their top pitchers. So it's kind of even out. So this is going to be very interesting going forward. All right, the NFL report. The game of the week already happened with Arizona and Green Bay, and it was a great back and forth game. It was Green Bay usually in control, the Cardinals playing catch up all night long. The Cardinals cut it to 17-14. Green Bay has a long drive. Long drive where they end up scoring a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers ends up getting a 5-yard touchdown. It was the drive just ground. It wasn't a typical Aaron Rodgers, I'm just going to light the sky up passing game. It was a 15 play. Let me see, 13. It was a 13 play drive, and they end up scoring. And it was a thing of beauty if you love the running game. They grounded and pounded. Jones and Dillon just went to work without their top 2 receivers, and they just had Randall Cobb. So what they did, they smartly ran the ball, and they had a lead. Okay, in the 4th quarter, here come the Cardinals, and they cut it to 3. And this was huge. They cut it to 3, 10 minutes left. James Conner scores. Now, Green Bay has the ball, 10 minutes left. I said, they're going to run the clock almost all the way down, and they're going to score a touchdown because they couldn't be stopped. And they couldn't be stopped. They ran the ball, chunk yardage, down the field, all the way toward the end. And Aaron Rodgers could have been the GOAT of the game in reality because they ran out of timeouts and then the delay of game. I know the pundits were talking about these sequences, but he could have been the GOAT. They should have ran the football on 4th down and goal. You run Jones. If they stop you, so what? They got Jones and Dillon, and Jones was just, toward the end, Jones was just gaining steam. And that was the time you run the football. Aaron Rodgers threw an incomplete pass. They outthought themselves, but not to be outdone by the Cardinals. The Cardinals had the ball at the 1-yard line, and I was saying to myself, if Kyler Murray gets one first down, he's going to drive down the field. Got the first down. AJ Green, who went from hero to GOAT, you see what happened toward the end. They drive down the field, and this is where the Cardinals lost the game. They got the ball at the 8-yard line, 1st and goal with 21 seconds. I passed the ball. Edmonds ran the ball. You got to use a timeout. You had a timeout. You could have threw the ball a couple of times with a timeout to play. It's 21 seconds left. You can't worry about Aaron Rodgers with 21 seconds. They should never ran the ball. Well, with 44 seconds, Kyler Murray, you should pass the ball. And he ran. Then Edmonds ran. They ran the ball too much. So now they're in scramble mode, 2nd and goal, and they're trying back shoulder fade with AJ Green, who didn't know that. They say he's looking at the Jumbotron. Oh my gosh. So he doesn't know that side adjustment that Kyler Murray was going to make. He's thinking the play ran. Not really. And Rasul Douglas, the back quarter, gets the interception, who was on the Cardinals. So that'd be sweet revenge. And this was a bad. Now, it's their first loss, but this is a bad loss for a couple of reasons. You're tied with the Rams. You do have the victory of the Rams, but you see the Rams again. You could have had a stranglehold on home court field going forward. Say, for instance, now you're tied with Green Bay at the end of the year. So sitting back and then join home cooking. You stay home, get ready for the playoffs. You may have to go to where it could be minus 12. It could be 3 or 4 degrees, minus 12 wind chill. You're Arizona. You've been in Arizona. You're Kyler Murray. You're playing in freezing cold instead of being home with a rematch with the Packers. This was costly. If that scenario plays out, they'll be thinking, man, we should have made that play. They'll rue the day they lost this game. And the Rams aren't going nowhere. So the Cardinals have to take care of business in their division. You can't slip up now. Even when they were undefeated, they needed to win this particular game. Now Green Bay, I don't like their defense, man. They got ran on a little bit, thrown on, and they were going to give up that touchdown. So I'm sold on. I love how they ran the ball. Love how smart their game plan was for this particular situation. The receivers will come back, so they're going to be good from an offense standpoint. I totally trust Aaron Rodgers. I don't trust the defense. Like if they have to go against Brady and Stafford, I don't trust them yet. But their record tells me they are the upper class. The only other really big game is Pittsburgh and Cleveland, because not a lot of great matchups. You got 2 teams with 3 losses. Baker Mayfield's hurt. Which quarterback can make enough plays? You know that both teams run the ball pretty well. Obviously, Cleveland Browns have a better offensive line. But who's going to make the 3rd and 9, the 3rd and 15 when the running game doesn't work? Who's going to make the 4th and 5? Who's going to get the tough yards? Who's going to get the stop that it had? Because Cleveland's defense is underachieved. Can't get their potential. Can the Steelers get their pass rush? You know, there's reports that Melvin Ingram's not happy. Do you make a trade for Deshaun Jackson, who I'm surprised is not happy with the Rams? There's no way in the world I want to leave the Rams, but maybe they make that deal in the future and he goes to Pittsburgh, and that's the type of guy to look off the offense, which would be much needed. So this season is still incomplete, but yesterday's game, I got a feeling that's going to cost the Cardinals. The college football report. Now, I say my show is called Tell the Sports Ray. So let me tell you the honest truth. Before you get all fired up about Georgia and Florida, the greatest cocktail party in America in Jacksonville. This is the problem. Georgia passes the ball better than Florida. Georgia runs the ball better than Florida. Georgia stops the run better than Florida. Georgia can shut the pass down better than Florida. Georgia has a better offense than Florida. Georgia has a better defense than Florida. What am I supposed to do with this game here? You know, unless Florida plays out of their mind, you know, come on now. What? Unless Jones can just go nuts because they don't run it. He's their leader, the quarterback. Zeus White should run all over him. They're tight. Georgia has the best tight ends. They're getting the ball to the receivers now, which is scary, but they have the best 2 tight ends in America. Stetson Bennett, solid. that's solid across the board. Maybe he's not spectacular, so maybe if a team could score on Georgia, they could maybe exploit the fact that they're not super dynamic offensively. Maybe, but I tell you, at the end of the day, no. They have they have the best, possibly, other than probably the best ball player in America, Davis, at defensive, on the defensive line, could rush to passer, runs you over. He's possible to block. He's a game type of guy. This game fits him. I can see him making big plays. Georgia's going to win. I think they're going to win by at least 2 touchdowns. It's a rivalry game. Florida will make it a decent game for a while, but come on, that's not the 2 most competitive games is Michigan State. Can he continue this McNamara magic? He only has 5 interceptions, but he's playing like a leader. Blake Corum on the ball pretty well. The Michigan quarterback, Peyton Thorne, has better numbers, 8 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. But now you're going against the Michigan defense. Can Michigan stop Kenneth Walker on the run? It's been Michigan State has a slight edge over the last few years, whether it's a punt snap or just a bad break here, bad break there. I mean, Michigan beat them one time. I remember Bush sticking the flag, the Michigan flag at the Michigan State 50-yard line, I think, after the game or something like that. They don't like each other. My brother, he doesn't like, but he respects Ohio State. He dislikes Michigan State. They get under his skin. It's a traditional rivalry is Ohio State, Michigan, even though Ohio State's been beating them up. I remember when I was younger, Michigan beat Ohio State every year. Now that I'm older, Ohio State beats Michigan every year. It's kind of cyclical, but Michigan State is nasty. That's just, if you're either team, you don't want to lose this game. And it's at Michigan State. It's here in the East Coast has been raining. I was going to rain tomorrow, but that would be perfectly fitting for it to be raining like a torrential downpour in that kind of Michigan State Big Ten game. Possibly the best game on the docket is Mississippi State, Ole Miss at Auburn. And you got mine, who I wish the Pittsburgh Steelers would draft, is Corral, who is a superstar. This kid is a superstar. 1,900 yards passing, 15 touchdowns, 1 interception. Serious, accurate as you can be. They have nice running game. They're playing out of their mind. But I tell you, this Auburn team is playing really good. I love how they're coached up better than last year. Bo Nix looks like he's finding himself a little bit. They're home. They're going to be a pain in the neck at home. Bigsby, I think they ride Tank Bigsby because you could run on Ole Miss a little bit. Time of possession is going to be huge. You don't want Corral and company with a whole bunch of snaps where Lane Kiffin's dialing up play after play after play in Auburn. I'll pick Auburn in the upset. I'll be rooting for Ole Miss. I like how Ole Miss plays, but I like how Auburn plays too. They're right. And they look, ever since the Georgia game, I like how they play. They're going to be a pain in the neck when Alabama comes there. I'm going to get one of the best fans in America, Jerome from Alabama, to come on my show and talk about that. I'm going to try to get him next week, but I'm very fired up. It's electric. I'm glad it's at night, so I'm looking forward to that. You know when I want to tell the truth and nothing but the truth when it comes to NBA, you know who you better watch out for is the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat's dangerous. And I'm going to tell you why they're dangerous. They beat up on a really good young Hornets team. Beat up, and I mean beat up. They beat up on the Nets the other day. Butler had 32 tonight. Bam Adebayo, who's getting better and better offensively. I mean, he had 26 points and 19 rebounds. Tyler Hero is a young, upcoming star, and he had 26, 6 assists and 5 rebounds. I mean, Jimmy Butler is the rock of the team. 32 points and 10 rebounds. And what's scary is he's a two-way player, but PJ Tucker gives them that dude that could guard everybody. And that guy gets those key rebounds. Adebayo's a terrific shot blocker. PJ Tucker's a dog when it comes to on the ball. They all defend like crazy. Between Butler and Hero and Kyle Lowry, they're just pit bulls defensively. And they get after you. They get after you legally. They play for good legal physical defense. Bam Adebayo is a outrageously good shot blocker. Duncan Robinson gives you points off the bench. They're sneaky dangerous. They beat the tar out of the Milwaukee Bucks earlier in the year. And I know PJ Tucker enjoyed that. The Nets need Kyrie Irving. And like I said, I'm hoping for that exception once December comes and, when the new mayor comes in and he provides some type of exception and they work everything out from a health standpoint, he comes back. Do not trade him. Don't be stupid and give in to idiot pundits who don't know anything about being a general manager of the NBA. Keep him. You need him. Him and KD. And then Harden will if he can work his way back into shape, because he had the injury, so he couldn't get into shape. If he works his way back into shape, you need that three-headed monster going forward if you want to deal with anyone. You want to deal with the Heat, first of all. And then the Knicks and teams that are coming. The Knicks are getting better, and then out west, it's gonna be it's a lot going on. I gotta see what the Lakers are gonna do. Denver and Phoenix and all those monsters out there. But the Nets, they need that. But the Heat, that's a team I got my eyes on. They're gonna be, and they're veterans. Pat Riley wants to get back to the finals one more time. He wants another championship. These guys get it. You better be on your game if you're going to beat the Miami Heat. But now going back west, as a Laker fan, Westbrook's got to get it together. You're on the Lakers now, so you can't act out, chase after opponents that you don't think's acting right, going after fans. He hadn't done that this year, but chasing after players when you're throwing the ball away in blowing a 26-point lead where you're throwing the ball all over the place. Then you get mad at your opponent. You think just rub it in. Can't control any of your emotions when it's important. Can't make any jump shots. This guy, he's a walking triple-double because he's a terrific player, but can this be a championship type of guy? Can he show something he's never showed, which is championship poise? Everything else I love about him, how hard he plays and all that, but you got to be able to have the poise to merge all the good intangibles you have with Anthony Davis and LeBron. Can he do it? And can he control himself? He's got to have a conversation with himself, say, I got to, at this age of my life, do something I haven't done all my career, is control myself in critical situations of conflict. Can he do that? That's what makes me nervous about this. He can play great for stretches, but when it really matters, and now you got to show poise, can he do it? I'm not sure.